it's been a weird day. I'm not gonna lie. It has been a strange day in the UK. But look, whilst we're on Silverstone quickly,
Oh, mate,
you're a
don't even.
you're a capitalist.
Don't do that, Nasha. Not like that. I'm not.
No, you're not. No, no. But you're a money man. Yeah.
Try to be.
Let me play devil's advocate for once, and
Let's
then you can be. Oh my god. Then you can be the hero,
let's
right?
go. Let's go for it.
Silverstone has introduced dynamic pricing for this year's Grand Prix. I think they've broken away from Ticketmaster. They've brought everything in house, but they've got a supplier, obviously, for the IT side of what they're doing. The reason for that being is that they want to move to dynamic pricing. Now, if you don't know what dynamic pricing is when the cost of the product that you want to buy will increase or decrease based on demand for that product and or scarcity of said product. For example, when you go and order an Uber and you're in city center at 3 o'clock at night, why is there a surge? Dynamic pricing. Why is it when you go to book an aeroplane the day before a flight, it is more expensive? Or maybe if they're looking at people's cookies and everyone's looking, they've announced the race in Italy and everyone's looking at flights to Milan, flight prices go up. Why is that? That's dynamic pricing. They've started doing it on concert tickets now. There's a big furore about, I think, Bob Dylan concert tickets being sold for like £500 a pop. It is the future. It's already been happening. It is the future. There's been furor over Silverstone. One, their website crashed on the first day, which is never, right. And then on the second day, when it was open, people were in the queue for 6 hours. And during that time, despite there being a bottleneck of people trying to access the website, ticket prices were still going up, and on average we're looking at increases of between 150 and around £300-400 per ticket. Cameron, Silverstone are the first out the gate, I think, to do dynamic pricing on their tickets. Thoughts? Oh no, you know what? Yeah, no. Sorry, for some more context. After a world where we had COVID, they had no one in the stands in 2020. The price of everything is going up. We're in a cost of living crisis. The UK more than any country in the world, not more than any, but the inflation here is turning into Mugabe, Zimbabwe levels. Are Silverstone justified in wanting to maximize the revenue that they make from their race? Talk to me.
Well, Nasha, to your final stanza, of course they're justified. This is capitalism. They want to raise their prices and people are still buying them at the new extortionate prices. Then, of course they can. This is capitalism, and this is what happens, right? To the highest bidder will go the product.
Yeah.
But Nasha, come on, son. Come on. When you say dynamic pricing, what you're meaning is teeth, right? Teeth, as Mama Cameron would say. Teeth is what we're talking about. What the website goes down, and then all of a sudden the prices are like 50% higher. Behave yourself. You know what they should have done? And I think this is where F1 is going at some point. You know about Peter's principle.
No, I don't. Please educate me.
The thought experiment or the thesis that an employer or employee even will get promoted to their level of incompetence ultimately. So you keep promoting someone, promoting somebody, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be too high, right? They're gonna do something daft and end up getting fired or whatever, reprimanded. This is what they're doing in F1 ultimately. Listen, you're going to keep rising the prices, but then ultimately at some point, people either can't afford them or are going to just protest. I wish that at that Silverstone auction, people would have just gone, what? What, you've increased the what? What, £100 extra? And I've had to wait for you to sort out your website and this is how you repay us for backing the sport. And again, let's not make a joke about it, Nasha, because grandstand, listen, I get that we have die-hard F1 fans who will turn up at Silverstone irrespective, not least after COVID and on a break and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But don't take the mick out of that circumstance, Silverstone. That's rude and disrespectful. Put some respect on the names of all the die-hard fans who are going to rock up to Silverstone irrespective. And that just doesn't feel fair. Doesn't feel fair, Nasha.
I think this is the first in a long line of proof. I've said this before and I'll say it again. F1 is eating itself right now.
Love it.
It is becoming, if they don't sort it out, the sport is going to become too big for the infrastructure that's in place. And every race we're looking at incidents, fans taking 6-7 hours to get out of the track.
Acceptable.
You grandstand areas, general attendance areas, people are standing on twigs to get in to look at the cars because you can't see over the vents of where it is. They won't let people in the grandstands on Friday either, which is standard on other days of in other Grand Prix. Queues for drinks. You can't take drinks or anything in because they want you to buy stuff. But then when you get there, queues for drinks. You have to queue for tokens, which is an hour and a bit. Then you have to go and queue for the drinks, and that's like another hour. So you're talking about 2 hours to get drinks in sessions that are 2 hours long. Every race, there's an issue. The airport, they were showing the airport to get out, like absolutely, impossible to get out. If F1, and now we've got the Silverstone issue, and we had issues in Barcelona, we had issues in Austria, we had issues in Zandvoort, like F1 is getting so big. I find it strange that they didn't anticipate it would be this big this season. And it doesn't feel like, whilst it is a bit of negligence, it actually feels like a bit of a cash grab at the moment.
A bit, Dasher. You're going to laugh, mate. Understatement of the century. I mean, come on, big man. Yeah, we can't be doing this. 2022, and they're hosting Grand Prix that feel like Woodstock 1989. This is not third world country settings. Give the people some water. They've paid for their tickets. Why are they having to do this? The car parking is a nonsense. Monza, like you said, was absolutely bonkers. The queue to get into Monza was completely ridiculous. F1, listen, here's what we're not going to do in 2022. We're not going to asset strip our sport. Liberty Media, a media company. You're not a venture capitalist. Don't do it. There is a line beyond which is unacceptable. I mean, we're close. We're close.
Well,
maybe they've overstepped it. Maybe they've overstepped it already, and it's just not on. This is the sport that we love. Don't do it. FOM, Liberty Media. And again, Nasha, you know what the joke is? This is going to come up at some point in the podcast. Absolutely. It always does. This speaks to the sport blurring into entertainment thing. Keep this thing a sport. Entertain the audiences. Look after them. Provide the proper requisite infrastructure when these guys are paying their big bucks to attend Grand Prix. You owe us and them that much, surely, FOM. It's not on, Nasha. Not on. Not having it.
No, don't have it. And the crazy thing is, F1 say that they want 23, 24 Super Bowls, right? That's what they said. That's why they introduced new races. I feel like now we've got the European season out of the way, I feel like there will be less of these types of things because the demand for, well, we'll see at Kota. I'll be interested, but Kota's used to having big crowds, but we'll see at Kota because that is going to be full to the rafters again. But I feel like they've got good infrastructure and logistics, right? Because they had record attendances last year, so it's no big thing for them. But in Brazil, it'd be interesting to see again. You feel like they've got the infrastructure. You'd hope they do. Outside of those four, though, Singapore, Japan, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, you would think that the demand is, we're not looking at crowds descending upon them and camping and all of that stuff. So you'd think it'd be better. So they've got time for next season to really sort this out, because if this goes into the next season, on top of the fact that people are going to be paying more money for their tickets, I think even Miami put their ticket prices up, and that's the most expensive Grand Prix of the year. So, I mean, it's
Vegas, etc.
Vegas. It flies in the face of them saying they want to get a younger audience, they want a more diverse audience. But this is just Bernie on steroids, really. This is Bernie with a social media account.
Listen to me. When somebody shows you who they really are, you best believe them. Again, in the words of Mama Camera. But listen, Nasha, I think what you just said there is a bit deep, because you're believing them. They're saying that they want, if you go to the Super Bowl, you're going to get a halftime show. If you want a hot dog, they're going to be there on tap. Brilliant. North America do this better, like the customer service thing. North America do this better than anybody in the world, right? So how dare you, FOM, try and align yourself to that level of customer service when people are at Monza and they can't even get a bottle of water? Danny Rick's there on a track. You can't even move that. You can't even get that off the track with your marshals. What do we do? Don't do this.
So, but they might say though that they are Formula One media, okay, and it is up to the track with the contracts that they have to ensure adequate infrastructure with the revenue that they make and the contracts that they have to ensure that the fan has adequate everything, right? So they're just going to push it back onto Monza. Your asset stripping thing earlier made me think, and I think they're going to sell.
Well, of course, that's exactly what they're.
I think they're just going to sell at some point.
Build a business. Although, to be fair, they're already massively up, aren't they?
Yeah.
As far as, even if you look at the ESPN deal as a microcosm, 5 million was what those rights cost a couple of years back. Now 75 million. So they're already up big time. But I'll just say this, Nasha, don't trust. That's the wrong word. I wouldn't believe any of the spiel and the shenanigans that the guys at the UFOM are trying to sell us. Again, it's the oldest story in F1 history, broken promises, yeah?
Yeah.
These man, for me, Nasha, these men are coming worse than Mattia Bonotto, right? Just don't believe them. Don't believe them when they're talking. Don't believe them. Because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't believe you, FOM. Sure. Been lying to us for the longest time, and you're still doing this this third world conditions at Grand Prix where people are paying like high triple figure numbers.
If you think about it, over the course of a weekend, flights, accommodation, tickets, food, like drink, transport, we're looking at high 3 figures, 4 figures.
Nasha, stop it. I'm allergic. Crazy. I'm allergic to corruption and I'm allergic to teeth. Look at me itching. I can't do it, Nasha.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, look, let's move on to something real quick.